She laughed. Introduce you? Introduce a teacher? To my parents? Oh my God, never, I said. Don't worry, you will not have to. 3 hours later, her best friend texted me the real reason Victoria had been lying about her family. I am Noah, 28M. Been teaching high school history for 6 years. Been dating Victoria, 26F, for 8 months now. And I thought things were getting serious. She works in marketing for some tech startup, comes from money, drives a BMW her parents bought her. I drive a 2019 Honda Civic. I am still paying off. Live in a decent apartment. Nothing fancy, but I am proud of what I have built on a teacher's salary. Victoria and I met at a coffee shop near her office. She was having trouble with her laptop. I helped her out. We started talking. She seemed genuinely interested in my work, asked thoughtful questions about education, said she respected teachers. Here is what should have been a red flag. In 8 months of dating, I have never met her parents. Every time I brought it up, she had an excuse. They are traveling in Europe. Dad's dealing with work stress. Mom's not feeling well. The timing just isn't right. I figured wealthy families were probably different, maybe more formal about meeting significant others. Her friend group, though, I would met them plenty of times: Emma, Sophie, and Rachel. Emma and Sophie always felt like they were judging me, asking pointed questions about my career plans, and whether I was thinking about advancing beyond teaching. Victoria would laugh it off, but I noticed she never defended my job either. Last Friday, Victoria invited me to dinner with the 3 of them at some upscale place downtown. The kind of restaurant where entrees start at $40 and they give you portions that would fit in a teacup. I wore my best shirt and tie, tried to fit in with their conversation about weekend trips to wine country and design or whatever. About halfway through dinner, Emma brought up relationships. So Rachel, how are things with Derek? When are you meeting his parents? Rachel blushed. Actually, I am having dinner with them next week. I am nervous but excited. Emma turned to Sophie. And you have already met Connor's whole family, right? Yeah, they are sweet. His mom keeps inviting me to their Sunday dinners. Then Emma looked at Victoria with this smirk. What about you, Vic? So when are you two meeting your parents? Or better yet, when is he meeting yours? The table got quiet. Victoria's face went through about 3 different expressions before she landed on this fake laugh that was way too loud. You really think I would ever introduce him to my parents? The laugh got louder. Can you imagine their faces? A high school teacher? Emma and Sophie started giggling. Sophie added, "Oh my God, what would you even tell them he does for money?" Victoria was really enjoying herself now. They would think I was slumming it. Like, seriously, what would be the point? I sat there with my fork halfway to my mouth, watching my girlfriend of 8 months mock my career to her friends, like it was the punchline to some joke. Rachel wasn't laughing. She was staring at Victoria like she had never seen her before. Put my fork down, pulled out my wallet, and left 60. Stood up, looked at Victoria and said, "Don't worry, you will not have to." Then I walked out. Victoria called after me, but I kept walking. I could hear her telling her friends, "He is so dramatic. He will get over it." 8 months of her saying she respected my work, that teachers were important, that she admired what I did. All bullshit. Around 11 that night, my phone buzzed. Text from Rachel. "Noah, I need to tell you something about Victoria. Can we talk?" I almost didn't respond. I was done with Victoria's friend group, done with all of it, but something in the way Rachel had looked at Victoria during dinner made me curious. "Sure, not over text. Can you meet me for coffee tomorrow morning? There is something you need to know about why she will not introduce you to her parents." I think tonight made that pretty clear. No, Noah, it is not what you think. It is not about your job at all. That got my attention. What do you mean? Just meet me tomorrow. Starbucks on 5th Street, 9 a.m. What happened tonight was horrible, and you deserve to know the truth. I stared at my phone for a long time. Part of me wanted to block all their numbers and pretend Victoria Patterson had never existed. But Rachel had been the only one not laughing, the only one who looked genuinely uncomfortable with Victoria's performance. "Okay, I will be there. Thank you. And Noah, I am really sorry about tonight." What she did was inexcusable, but what Rachel told me the next morning completely changed how I see everything that just went down. Update 1. Sorry for the delayed update, guys. Had to help my sister move apartments yesterday. And today's the first chance I have had to sit down and process everything Rachel told me. You guys aren't going to believe this. So Rachel sits down across from me at Starbucks, looking like she is about to confess to murder, and drops this bomb. Victoria's parents have been asking to meet you for months. I must have looked confused because she immediately pulled out her phone. Look, I have screenshots. Victoria's mom texted her 3 weeks ago asking when she was bringing the nice teacher boy over for dinner. Her dad sent her a link to an article about education funding and said he wanted to discuss it with you. She showed me the texts. Victoria's mom, honey, we would love to meet Noah soon. Your father found his school's website and is very impressed with their curriculum. When can we arrange dinner? Victoria's response, Mom, we are taking things slow. It is not the right time yet. Her mom again, taking things slow. Last night she acted like introducing me to her parents would be social suicide. Rachel leaned forward. That is because she has been lying to everyone. Noah, her parents aren't snobs. They are actually really down-to-earth people. Her dad started his business from nothing, worked construction before he got into real estate. Her mom volunteers at the literacy center downtown. They specifically told Victoria they were excited. She was dating a teacher instead of another trust fund brat. Then why? Because of James. She said it like the name should mean something to me. Who is James? Her ex-boyfriend. They dated for 2 years, broke up about a year before she met you. He is everything you are not. Comes from old money, works at his dad's investment firm, drives a Tesla, lives in that high-rise downtown. Rachel took a sip of her drink, gathering courage to continue. Here is the thing, Victoria never told you. James is engaged, has been for 6 months, but he has been stringing Victoria along this entire time, telling her his engagement is just for show, that he is going to leave his fiancée for her. My stomach started sinking. Victoria's parents hated James, told her he was using her, that he had never marry her, because she wasn't from the right kind of family. When they broke up, her parents were relieved. When she started dating you, they were thrilled. So why will not she introduce me? Because she is still obsessed with James. She has been using you as a placeholder, waiting for him to come back. She cannot introduce you to her parents because they would see how much better you are for her, and she would have to admit to herself that she is wasting time on a fantasy. I sat there trying to process this. How do you know all this? Because I have been watching her torture herself for 2 years. Noah. Last month she showed up at my apartment crying because James canceled their secret meeting to go to his engagement party planning session. She is living in complete denial. Rachel pulled up another screenshot. This is from her conversation with James last week. Victoria's text. When are you going to tell her about us, James? Soon, baby. Just need to get through the engagement party next month. Then I will fix Victoria. You promise? She has been cheating on me. Emotionally, yes. I don't think it has been physical since you two started dating, but Noah, she talks about him constantly when you are not around. She keeps saying you are nice and stable, but James is her real love. Why are you telling me this? Rachel looked genuinely upset, because what happened last night was the last straw. Watching her humiliate you in public because she is too proud to admit she is chasing a guy who is never going to leave his fiancée. I cannot be part of it anymore. You don't deserve this, Noah. You are a good person, and she is treating you like some consolation prize while she waits for her fantasy to come true. Her parents really want to meet me? Her mom has your school's website bookmarked. She reads the newsletter every month. Her dad told me at Emma's birthday party that he is excited about potentially having a teacher in the family because educators are the backbone of society. Those were his exact words. And Victoria knows this? Of course she knows. That is why she keeps making excuses. Because once you meet them, the lie falls apart. They will treat you like family, and she will have to confront the fact that she is throwing away a real relationship for a married man who is never going to choose her. Rachel stood up. Noah, I am giving you her parents' phone number. Call them. Meet them. They deserve to know what kind of person their daughter really is. And you deserve to know that there is nothing wrong with who you are. or what you do. She wrote 2 numbers on a napkin, Robert and Linda Patterson. They are expecting Victoria to bring you by any day now. What about Victoria? What about her? She made her choice last night when she chose to humiliate you instead of being honest. Maybe it is time she faced some consequences. I looked at the numbers on the napkin. Will not this destroy your friendship with her? My friendship with her died last night when she treated you like dirt for entertainment. The Victoria I became friends with 10 years ago would never have done that. Call them. Noah. You will see what you have been missing. She left me sitting there with 2 phone numbers, and the strangest feeling, like the past 8 months of my life, had been some elaborate performance, where only I didn't know I was acting in a play. Sunday morning, I made a decision. I pulled out the napkin and dialed the first number. Hello, hi, Mrs. Patterson. This is Noah Williams. I am Victoria's boyfriend. The silence on the other end lasted about 2 seconds. Then, Noah. Oh my goodness. Finally, Robert, come here. It is Noah, I heard shuffling. Then a man's voice in the background, the teacher. Victoria's Noah. Yes, the teacher. Noah, we have been dying to meet you. Victoria has been so secretive. We were starting to think you didn't exist, but what happened when I had dinner with them last night revealed something that made Victoria's lies even worse than I thought. Update 2 had to pull double shifts at work this week, covering for a colleague. But I finally have time to update you guys on what happened next. And honestly, what I discovered about Victoria's parents changed everything I thought I knew about this situation. So I am on the phone with Mrs. Patterson Linda, and the warmth in her voice was immediate. Nothing like the cold, judgmental parents Victoria had described. Noah, Robert and I have been hoping Victoria would bring you by for months. We keep asking her, and she keeps saying you are too busy with work, or it is not the right time. Are you free for dinner this Sunday? Yes, I am free. But Mrs. Patterson, I should tell you, Victoria and I aren't exactly on good terms right now. Oh no, did you two have a fight? Young couples always work these things out. I found myself telling her the whole story, the dinner, Victoria's comments about being embarrassed to introduce a teacher to her parents, how she had made it clear she thought I was beneath her family's standards. The silence on the other end stretched so long, I thought we had been disconnected. Noah, Linda finally said, and her voice was different, now colder. That is not how your father and I raised our daughter to speak about people. Mrs. Patterson, maybe this isn't. No, you listen to me. Robert started this family's business with his hands. He laid tile and painted houses for 15 years before he saved enough to buy his first rental property. I taught 2nd grade for 12 years before we could afford for me to stay home with Victoria. We have nothing but respect for teachers. And any daughter of mine who thinks otherwise has forgotten where she came from. I heard her talking to someone in the background, presumably Robert. Then she came back on the line. Noah, you are coming to dinner Sunday at 6. Not with Victoria, just you. It is time we met the man our daughter has been hiding from us. And it is time she learned some consequences for treating people this way. Sunday evening, I stood outside a beautiful but not ostentatious house in a tree-lined neighborhood, holding a bottle of wine and questioning my sanity. But when Robert Patterson opened the door, tall, weathered hands, wearing a casual button-down and jeans, his face lit up like Christmas morning. Noah, come in, come in. Linda, he is here. The next 3 hours were a revelation. Robert told me about growing up working class, how education had been his path out of poverty, how he had always respected teachers because they gave him the tools to build something better. Linda talked about her years in the classroom, asked thoughtful questions about my teaching methods, shared stories about students she still kept in touch with decades later. We couldn't be more proud that Victoria's dating a teacher, Linda said over dessert. After that nonsense with James, we were so relieved when she told us about you. She told you about James? Robert's expression darkened. 2 years of watching our daughter chase after a man who treated her like a secret, never took her anywhere public, never introduced her to his family, made her feel like she wasn't good enough for his world. We tried to warn her, but she was infatuated. When she started talking about you, Linda continued, How stable you were. How kind. How passionate about your work, we thought. Finally, she has found someone with substance. I set down my fork. Mrs. Patterson, I need to ask you something directly. Has Victoria been telling you that she is taking things slow with me? That I am not ready to meet you yet? They exchanged glances. Yes, Robert said slowly. She said you were focused on your career, that you felt intimidated about meeting us because we come from different backgrounds. She said you were worried we would judge you for being a teacher, Linda added. We told her that was ridiculous, that we would be honored to meet you. I pulled out my phone and showed them the screenshots. Rachel had shared Victoria's text to James, the conversations about him leaving his fiancée. The silence that followed was deafening. She's been lying to all of us, I said quietly. She has been telling me you are snobs who look down on teachers. She has been telling you I am not ready to meet you. And she has been telling James she is waiting for him to leave his fiancée. Linda's face went through several emotions before settling on something I can only describe as maternal fury. Robert, she said in a voice that could freeze fire, call Victoria. Tell her to come over here right now, Linda. Maybe we should. Right now. 20 minutes later, Victoria's BMW pulled into the driveway. Through the window, I watched her check her makeup in the rearview mirror, completely oblivious to what was waiting for her inside. She walked through the front door like she owned the place, calling out, Mom, Dad. What was so urgent that she stopped dead when she saw me sitting at the dining room table with her parents. Noah, what are you doing here? Linda stood up. Sit down. Victoria, Mom, what is going on? I said. Sit down. Victoria sat. The confidence drained from her face as she looked between me and her parents. Robert leaned forward. Victoria, Noah just told us about what happened at dinner Friday night, about how you told your friends you would be embarrassed to introduce a teacher to your parents. Victoria's face went white. Daddy, I am not finished. He also told us that you have been lying to him for months, telling him we are snobs who would look down on his profession. And then, Linda's voice was razor sharp. Noah showed us your text messages with James. If Victoria had looked pale before, now she looked like she was going to be sick. Mom, those texts aren't what they look like. They look like our daughter has been emotionally cheating on a good man while waiting for a married man to leave his fiancée. They look like she has been lying to everyone in her life to keep her options open. Victoria started to cry. You don't understand. James and I have history. We have a connection. He is engaged. Victoria, Robert's voice boomed. He is marrying someone else in 3 weeks. And you are sitting here crying about it while you have been treating Noah like he is not good enough for our family. 3 weeks. Victoria looked genuinely shocked. I pulled out my phone and showed her James's Instagram. Photos from his engagement party planning, his fiancée's ring, save the date cards. His engagement party is this Saturday, I said quietly. Did he invite you? Victoria stared at the photos, tears streaming down her face. He told me it was just for show, she whispered. Linda walked over and knelt beside Victoria's chair. Honey, listen to me. James has been using you. Well, he planned his real future with someone else, but he said, what men say and what men do are two different things. Noah here has spent 8 months showing you he cares through his actions. James has spent 2 years showing you he doesn't through his. Victoria looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. Noah, Victoria, you spent 8 months lying to me about your parents, lying to your parents about me, and lying to yourself about James. You humiliated me in front of your friends because you are ashamed of me, and the only reason you are sorry now is because you got caught. That is not true. Then prove it. Call James right now. Ask him if he is really leaving his fiancée for you, or if he has just been stringing you along. Victoria's hand shook as she dialed. The phone rang 4 times before James answered. Victoria, this is kind of a bad time. I am at the venue with Sarah making final arrangements. James, I need to ask you something. Victoria put the phone on speaker, whether intentionally or because her hands were shaking, I couldn't tell. Sure, but make it quick. Are you really going to leave Sarah for me after the wedding, or have you been lying to me this whole time? The pause that followed seemed to last forever. Victoria, What are you talking about? I am getting married in 3 weeks to Sarah. I thought you understood this was just, fun while it lasted. The devastation on Victoria's face was almost painful to watch. But what happened at James's engagement party this weekend, and how Victoria's world completely fell apart, made me realize this story was far from over. Final update: Wi-Fi's been down all weekend due to a storm. Finally got it fixed this morning. You guys, Saturday night was absolutely insane. Victoria crashed James's engagement party, and it was a complete disaster. My phone started buzzing with notifications Saturday afternoon. Apparently, Victoria showed up uninvited to the country club, walked right up to James during his speech, and announced to everyone that he had been cheating on his fiancée with her. Rachel sent me the details. Noah, she had screenshots, voice recordings, everything. She completely lost it. But James didn't panic. He looked at Victoria like she was dirt and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Victoria Patterson. We dated briefly 2 years ago, and she has been having trouble accepting that it is over. Victoria, please leave before I have to call security." His fiancée said something to Victoria that made her go pale and practically run out. The videos were online within hours. The comments were brutal. Sunday morning, Victoria showed up at my door with swollen eyes and yesterday's makeup. "Noah, please. I lost James. I am losing my friends. My reputation is destroyed. I cannot lose you too. You already lost me Friday night at dinner, remember?" But I was confused then. What we have is real. No, Victoria. What we had was me loving someone who didn't exist, and you using someone you didn't respect. I closed the door. She stood there for 5 minutes before leaving. Linda called that afternoon. "Noah, honey, Robert and I meant what we said. You are welcome in our family anytime. You showed us more respect in one evening than Victoria showed you in 8 months." 2 weeks later, I got a text from Jessica, a fellow teacher at Roosevelt Elementary. Linda had been talking me up to the school board, and Jessica needed high school teachers for a tutoring initiative. We met for coffee to discuss the program. Jessica was smart, passionate about education, and genuinely understood why teaching mattered. No games, no lies, no shame about our profession. That was 3 months ago. Jessica and I have been building something real based on mutual respect. Last week, I ran into Victoria at the grocery store. She looked tired. "Older. I started therapy," she said, "trying to figure out why I made such bad choices." "That is good. I heard you are dating someone new, a teacher. Jessica's a great person. Do you think my parents would want to see me? I would like to apologize. That is between you and them, Victoria." She walked away, and I felt nothing but quiet contentment. Robert and Linda still send me Christmas cards. They have met Jessica and love her. They treat me more like family than Victoria ever did. Victoria texted me once, "You two look happy. I am glad you found someone who appreciates you." I didn't respond, but I am exactly where I belong, with someone who thinks being a teacher is something to brag about, not something to hide.